They don't warn you about the real dangers, not the ones you can see, but the ones that shape you quietly from the inside out. Most people believe their thoughts are their own, that their choices come from logic, that their desires come from authenticity, that their fears come from experience. But the truth is far darker than that, because the human mind is not a fortress, it's an open system, and what gets inside it shapes everything. There are psychological mechanisms so powerful, so precise, that once you understand them, you can predict how almost anyone will think, act, or feel. Governments use them. Corporations use them. Manipulators use them. And the most frightening part, you felt them working without ever noticing what they were doing to you. Because the most effective control isn't loud. It doesn't shout or force or threaten. It whispers, it guides. It lets you believe you're free while gently steering your decisions in the exact direction someone else intended. You've experienced it in conversations you thought you were leading, in choices you swore you made independently, in emotions that appeared out of nowhere. And each time it felt natural, because that's how psychological influence works. It hides inside what feels familiar. It disguises itself as intuition. It becomes part of your inner voice. Now, in this story, we're going deeper than surface-level tricks or everyday manipulation. We're revealing 5 psychological secrets they don't want you to know. The ones that control behavior on a level so subtle, so quiet, that by the time you notice them, they've already done their work. Because once you understand these secrets, you stop being predictable, you stop being programmable, and you stop being easy to control. Most people walk through life believing they see reality clearly, believing their opinions are shaped by reason, their choices shaped by preference, and their reactions shaped by personality. But the truth is far more unsettling. Most of what you think is you is actually conditioning. Layers of influence built slowly over time, shaping how you interpret the world without ever asking for your permission. It starts early. You learn what to fear, what to trust, what to want, not because you chose those beliefs, but because they were handed to you by parents, teachers, culture, media. And the brain, desperate to save energy, accepts these patterns without question. It stores them as shortcuts, as instincts, as truth, and that's where the trap begins. Because once your mind builds a pattern, it defends it, even if the pattern is wrong, manipulative, or designed by someone who benefits from your blindness. You think you're acting independently, but in reality, you're following scripts you never wrote. People talk about freedom like it's a birthright, but psychological freedom is earned, not inherited. And without awareness, your thoughts aren't truly yours. Your fears aren't truly yours. Even your desires can be engineered without you realizing it. Think about how quickly your mood shifts after a single headline, how easily your attention is captured by certain colors, certain sounds, certain words, and how often you say yes when something inside you wanted to say no, simply because the framing made refusal feel unsafe. Influence doesn't come from force. It comes from design. We like to imagine manipulation as something obvious, a threat, a command, an aggressive push. But the strongest manipulation is gentle, comforting, invisible, the kind that feels like your own idea. And that's why these psychological secrets are so effective. They don't just change what you do, they change what you think you want to do. They rewrite internal logic. They shape perception. They disguise control as choice. And once you understand how these mechanisms work, you'll never look at your own thoughts the same way again. They don't want you to understand the first secret, because once you do, the entire illusion of autonomy begins to crack. The truth is that people are most easily controlled, not when they're threatened or cornered, but when they're gently guided into believing that the decision was entirely their own. When you're presented with several options that look different on the surface but lead to the same predetermined conclusion, you experience a sense of freedom while unknowingly moving inside a structure someone else designed. This is why political systems, marketing strategies, and even personal dynamics so often rely on curated choices, not to limit your freedom outright, but to shape it in a direction that feels natural enough that you never stop to question it. The second secret hides inside something far more subtle and far more intimate: the unconscious need to feel mirrored. When someone reflects your posture, echoes your emotional rhythm, or adapts their expressions to match yours, your mind registers the interaction as familiarity, which you instinctively interpret as safety. This is the foundation of the mirror effect, the psychological mechanism that convinces you to trust, not because the person is genuine, but because they feel like a comfortable extension of yourself. Influence grows easily in this space. Once the reflection feels real, persuasion rarely requires effort. The third secret operates even deeper than behavior. It speaks directly to your emotional state. Every message you receive, every argument, every advertisement, every appeal is colored by the emotion you felt just moments before it arrived. A single tone, a headline, a memory, a shift in atmosphere can prime your mind to interpret the next piece of information through a filter of fear, hope, anger, longing, or desire. When you feel emotionally charged, your logic bends to match that charge. And the person creating that emotional context never needs to attack your reasoning. They simply let the mood do the convincing for them. Scarcity, the fourth secret, exploits one of the oldest instincts embedded in the human brain: the desperate need to avoid loss. The idea that something is limited, time, opportunity, affection, attention, creates a psychological urgency that overrides deliberation. Suddenly, you are no longer evaluating the situation. You are reacting to the perceived threat of missing out, of being left behind, of losing something you believe is scarce. This instinct is so powerful that it can pull you toward decisions that contradict your better judgment, simply because the fear of loss feels more dangerous than the comfort of staying calm. And then there is the fifth secret, the one that binds all the others together: the cycle of fear and relief. This is not just manipulation, it is psychological conditioning. When someone generates uncertainty, insecurity, or subtle distress, and then immediately becomes the source of comfort, reassurance, or stability, your mind learns to associate safety with the very thing that caused your unease. Over time, that loop creates loyalty, dependence, and even attachment. This mechanism is used by institutions, by powerful groups, and by individuals who understand how fear breaks the mind and how relief rebuilds it in their image. These five forces shape much more of your life than you realize, not because you're weak or unaware, but because they operate beneath the level of conscious thought, quietly influencing perception, emotion, and choice. And once you start recognizing them, not abstractly, but within your own daily experiences, the spell begins to fade. You start noticing the subtle shifts in tone, the carefully constructed choices, the emotional cues designed to guide your reactions, and suddenly the world looks different. Not louder, but clearer. When you begin to understand these mechanisms, something subtle shifts inside you. Instead of moving through the world unconsciously, you start noticing the small, almost invisible ways your thoughts are shaped by forces you never question. You begin to recognize how often your emotions respond before your mind even has time to interpret what's happening, and how frequently you confuse those automatic responses with genuine intuition. It becomes unsettling at first, almost like realizing that the internal voice you trusted so deeply may not have always been your own. Think about the moments when you felt certain anger towards someone, only to discover later that the situation was framed in a way that primed your reaction. Think about the decisions you made quickly because something felt urgent, only to later recognize that the urgency was manufactured. Think about the times you felt drawn to someone, not because they showed true compatibility, but because they mirrored your rhythms, your tone, your emotional language so perfectly that it created the illusion of connection. These were not random experiences. They were the fingerprints of psychological influence. And if you look even closer, you'll see how often you've participated in these patterns yourself without meaning to. How often you mirrored someone to make them comfortable. How often you framed choices to guide a conversation toward the outcome you wanted. How often you softened your tone or heightened your emotion to evoke a certain reaction. Influence isn't just something that happens to you. It's something you've learned to use, sometimes without even realizing it. The uncomfortable truth is that we are all shaped by these dynamics, whether we want to admit it or not. You may think your beliefs were born from clarity, but many were inherited. From childhood, from culture, from repetition. You may think your preferences are personal, but many were primed by exposure, by scarcity, by emotional context. You may think your fears are logical, but many were conditioned, slowly, quietly through patterns you never recognized while they were forming. This is the moment when awareness becomes painful because it forces you to confront the possibility that parts of your identity were crafted by forces outside your control. But it is also the moment when awareness becomes liberating, because once you see the pattern, it loses its power. You start questioning your first reactions instead of obeying them. You begin to create space between what you feel and what you decide. You stop accepting every thought as truth just because it appeared in your mind. And in that space, that small, quiet gap between stimulus and response, you begin to regain ownership of yourself. Once you recognize how these psychological patterns shape your thoughts, something powerful begins to happen. Not all at once, but gradually, like a fog lifting. You start to feel a sense of quiet distance between yourself and the forces trying to influence you. It's not rebellion and it's not resistance. It's clarity. A clarity that allows you to observe without absorbing, to notice without reacting, and to think without being pulled by the emotional undercurrent beneath every message that reaches you. You begin by slowing down your emotional reactions. When something triggers you, anger, urgency, fear, desire, you pause not because you're unsure, but because you finally understand that emotion is the entry point for influence. That brief pause is where awareness settles in. You ask yourself, why do I feel this? Where did this sensation start? Who benefits from this reaction? And surprisingly fast, situations that once provoked instant responses begin to lose their pull. What used to shake you now simply passes in front of you like a moving shadow, noticed but no longer determining your behavior. You start reclaiming your attention because you realize it's the currency every system is fighting for. Instead of letting your mind be dragged by whatever stimulus is loudest, you choose deliberately where your focus goes. You become selective about what you consume because you understand that every image, every headline, every voice carries its own intent. You begin to watch the world without letting it invade you, and suddenly manipulation becomes visible in places it used to hide effortlessly. You learn to question the mood of the moment. If something feels urgent, you ask whether the urgency is real or manufactured. If something feels scarce, you check whether scarcity is a fact or a tactic. If someone mirrors your emotions too perfectly, you look for intention instead of assuming connection. And if fear comes followed immediately by comfort, you recognize the loop before it closes around you. Slowly, you stop being reactive and start being intentional. You notice how rarely you truly needed the things you rushed toward, how often your impulses were emotional echoes rather than genuine desires. How many of your past decisions were not choices, but conditioned responses. And there is a profound strength in this realization. Not the loud, aggressive kind of strength that tries to dominate others, but a quiet, internal solidity that keeps you steady even when the world around you tries to pull you in a dozen different directions. When you finally understand these psychological forces, something remarkable begins to happen. The world doesn't look the same anymore. You start seeing patterns where you once saw coincidences, intention where you once saw randomness, and influence where you once saw choice. It's like stepping out of a room you didn't realize was dimly lit and realizing how many shadows you had mistaken for shape. The truth is, most people live their entire lives without ever questioning the source of their thoughts. They defend beliefs that were planted in them, chase desires that were engineered for them, and fear dangers designed to keep them compliant. They think they are thinking, but in reality, they are repeating. And the systems that control them never worry, because people rarely look inward long enough to notice the strings. But once you do notice them, the game changes. Not for the world, but for you. You begin to sense influence before it reaches your decision. You feel when a conversation is steering you instead of meeting you. You recognize when urgency is artificial, when connection is crafted, when fear is intentional. The illusions don't disappear, but they lose their ability to guide your choices. You begin to move differently, not emotionally, not automatically, but consciously. And consciousness is the one thing manipulation cannot survive. This is the moment where people start calling you difficult, stubborn, or detached. Not because you are any of those things, but because you have stopped being predictable. Predictability is what makes a person controllable. And once you step beyond it, you become someone the system can no longer easily shape. You become someone who listens fully, thinks clearly, and acts slowly. And that alone makes you powerful. And here's the part they never tell you. You don't have to fight the world to stay free. No. You just have to remain awake while you walk through it. Because the mind that questions cannot be commanded. The mind that observes cannot be manipulated. The mind that understands cannot be controlled. And once you taste that freedom, even for a moment, you will never let it go again. Protect your mind, understand their game,